Vanakkam Doha Devan, everyone. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadi Tamastu Ma Vinvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, we'll share the screen. One, huh? There it is, first topic. Our first topic, Sivathondu, service to God Shiva. A little story behind this. Yoga Swami's Mahasamadhi is coming up April 11th in Hawaii, Ashlesha Nakshatra. And one of the Zoom changes that's happened is one of the Yoga Swami groups in Toronto, Canada, is gone Zoom. And they invited me last year to give a presentation. And so this is the presentation for them for April 11th. And I'm sharing it today with everyone. The group is headed by Jayanti Nikhilanandan, for those of you who know her. She is a niece of Ma Navaratnam, who wrote a lot of books on Yoga Swami and lived down the street from him and chronicled a lot of his sayings over the years, so made an invaluable contribution. Sivathondu, service to God Shiva. Yoga Swami gave different people different sadhanas, spiritual disciplines they could follow to make spiritual progress. Sivathondu, service to God Shiva, was one of two medicines he most frequently administered. Second was Shiva Dhyana, meditation on God Shiva. Today we'll look in more depth at the sadhana of Sivathondu. Certainly, to be successful at meditation requires one to first excel at the practice of Sivathondu. Many individuals think that their work, for example, being a doctor, has nothing to do with making spiritual progress. However, when we view our work as the fulfillment of our dharma, then it is no longer separate from religion. Of course, we do work to earn money to support our family, but we also do so to benefit society. To encourage this shift in paradigm in his devotees, Yoga Swami would frequently bring up the idea of work in conversation. Here are 4 examples from Words of Our Master, which, if anyone doesn't know, is a collection of his sayings. English collection of his sayings. Most of his sayings were done in the Tamil language, so it's a translation. Yoga Swami would often end darshan sessions with a devotee or family with the admonition, "Now go and do your work." Once we were all at Swami's place eating from plantain leaves, banana leaves. When everyone had finished dinner, a lady doctor who was there wanted to take Swami's leaf to throw it away. Swami said, "I can do my work, you do your work." Third quote. The hand does its work, the leg its work, so everyone does his work. The trees their work, the laborer his work. The teacher his work, the sage his work. Work is swadharma, following your pattern. God is the great Maharaja who sits witnessing all this. There is nothing imperfect in the world. Witness everything as God does. So when Yoga Swami or Chalapa Swami say that, Orupolapum illai, not even one thing wrong, doesn't mean everything in the world is what we want it to be. It means it's what it needs to be. It's the fulfillment of the actions set in motion in the past, or it's karma. It's mankind's self-created karma. So in that sense, it's not imperfect. It's what we need to go through. There's some lessons in it we haven't learned. Fourth quote, all work must be done with the aim of reaching God. That's a really good one. Every time you do some significant task, you can ask yourself, did I do this with the aim of reaching God? The answer may not always be yes. When we are stable in the viewpoint of performing all work with the aim of reaching God, this naturally leads to a deeper perspective that each task we are doing is an offering to the Lord. Just as placing a flower in front of a murti or picture of the deity is an offering, each task we do is also an offering. Each is simply a different way of worshiping God, a different way of bringing us closer to God. This perspective on work is known as Ishvara Paranidhana. Yoga Swami once spoke to a laborer who was cleaning the lavatory outside his hut. Oh, Ramaswamy, that's his name. Are you doing Shiva Puja out there? So even cleaning a lavatory is worshiping God. Yoga Swami's words to a young man just starting his career were, you are going out to work, you must dress well and look dignified. Everything should be an offering to God. The world is an altar. Interesting way of looking at it. The term Sivathondu means service to God. And one who performs this service is called a Sivathondar or Sivanadiyar, which literally means a devoted servant of God. Sivathondar or Sivanadiyar conveys a mystic relationship between the devotee and God in which all spiritual, mental, and physical actions are perceived as fulfilling the will and design of God. The fact that the institution Yoga Swami founded is named Sivathondu Nilayam shows how central this concept was in his teachings. There is an important statement by Yoga Swami about Sivanadiyar in his third Nachindanai letter on the topic of Sivathondu. First, I will read it in Tamil. Nango Sivanadiyar, Nango Sivanadiyar, Nango Sivanadiyar, Nango Sivanadiyar. Idu Sarya, Idu Kirya, Idu Yogam, Idu Yanam. Idu Mandaram, Idu Tandaram, Idu Maranda. And in English, we are Sivanadiyar. We are Sivanadiyar. We are Sivanadiyar. This is Charya. This is Kriya. This is Yoga. This is Jnana. This is Mantra. This is Tantra. This is the panacea. So panacea is a translation of Marundu, which means medicine. Traya, Kriya, Yoga, and Jnana are the four stages of practice in Saiva Siddhanta, and thus refer to the Charya, Kriya, Yoga, and Jnana are the four stages of practice in Saiva Siddhanta, and thus refer to the totality of religious disciplines. What Yoga Swami is stressing in the statement, of course, is that the core attitude of being a devoted servant of God is the key to making progress on the spiritual path. Second aspect of being a Sivanadiyar is that one regularly performs selfless work in service to others. We have a story on this in our book, Guru Chronicles. Swami opened a path of service to his devotees. Work, 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 serve, serve, serve. He always had a project going, something that seemed like more than anyone or any group of people could accomplish. And he demanded it be done to perfection. Perfection is an important part of being a Sivathondu. Never allowing them to settle for second-rate performances. If it was a drama for a Hindu festival, he would boldly offer advice about the production. Swami might even act out parts of the pageant like a director, rehearsing scenes, stretching each participant a little beyond what he thought was his capacity. "You are more than you think you are," he would chide. Each one discovered new strength in fulfilling his expectations, a devotee recalls. If you were organizing a feeding for 1,000 people at Nalur Temple, he made sure you had everything planned well so the event would go smoothly. He wanted to know precisely what curries you planned to serve and might suggest substitutes or cutting back on the quantity. 3 curries is enough, he would direct. If you and other devotees were rebuilding a temple that had fallen into disrepair, he would get involved, making sure you rebuilt it properly and had the necessary ceremonies conducted for its reopening. He would even inquire if you had provided an adequate endowment to keep the temple functioning well into the future. So this is a photograph of Tiruketeswaram, Sri Lanka, undergoing a major reconstruction, and it is major. And the Stapadi is the Stapadi currently, our Stapadi for Erevan Temple, Sivathondu Stapadi. So Sivathondu Stapadi has a big crew there doing this work, including a former cook for the Silpis here, Kumar, when we visited them on one of the inner searches. These stories bring out another aspect of Sivathondu, which is doing every task well, which causes us to strengthen our willpower and self-control. A quote from Words of Our Master expresses this idea. "Whatever work you have to do, do it well. That in itself is yoga." And of course, I'm sure all remember Gurudeva has a similar quote, but it's not in this presentation. This is just Yoga Swami's quotes, but Gurudeva says something like, "Do it well, even a little better than you anticipated doing." The last paragraph of the story brings up another aspect of being a Shivanadiyar, which is to truly feel that rather than I am the one who achieved this, that it is God Shiva is making this happen through me and the others involved. If a devotee had accomplished something and came to Swami for praise, he would strip him down to size quickly. Sometimes he would ignore a devotee's achievement entirely and quickly guide his attention to another project that needed work, or he would scold. "So you think you have put on a good feeding? Was it you who put life into the food, into those who cooked the curries, who created hunger, who discovered the way to satisfy it? My child, you must not think you have done anything. It is all the work of the Lord. When you know that, then you will know you have done nothing." Very nice. So one way to see if someone has this attitude is you praise them and see what they say. You say, "Oh, you did such a great job on this and this project." See what they say back. "Thank you very much." Or did they say, "Well, it was just Shiva's blessings, the Guru's grace. It's because I had a good teacher." See what they say, and it shows where they are in understanding that they're really just the instrument. One final quote from Yoga Swami provides an excellent summary of the ideas presented. This is a great one. "See everything you see as Shiva. Do everything you do as Sivathondu. Give up this I and mine." So if we could all do that, that would be great. Second topic. Consistency, 12th character quality. Character building workbook. How would you define consistency? Give you a minute on that. Workbook gives this definition. Consistency means maintaining one's level of performance. I develop it by completing all tasks to the best of my ability and never neglecting my spiritual practices. The opposite is erraticism, being erratic. Gurudev explained, basic principles for a good foundation in our lives can be established through consistency. The consistency in approach to what we are doing, a good habit pattern in living our life as we approach our inner life, the understanding of our inner life, the study of it, and the experience of it has to be on a day-to-day basis. So we have to be consistent day to day for the spiritual practices we are doing to manifest their maximum benefit. It is only through consistency that you can avoid many of the boulders that lie in your way on the classical yoga path to enlightenment. Practice the art of being constant and you will unfold your destiny. Discover what you were born to do and learn how to accomplish it in this life. Consistency is the key to the conquest of karma. If you go to extremes or are sporadic in your sadhana, you can easily slide backwards. Comparing the actions of one who is consistent to one who is erratic. First situation. In feeding the family pets, you, consistency, perform the duty daily without fail. Erraticism, sometimes forget and hope someone else will fill in. Second situation. When faced with homework, you, consistency, complete all reading and assignments day after day. Erraticism, skip some days suffering bad test results and low grades. Third situation, in working with moods and emotions, you, consistency, keep yourself cheerful at all times, no matter what happens. Erraticism, are cheerful one day and moody the next. Oops, clean. Missed that one. That's from the last character quality there. Reflection. Take a moment to identify a few ways in which you could improve in consistency. So I'll give you a second. Look for areas where you're not consistent. You're probably consistent in most areas, but there are some you're not. And if we can be consistent in those, then that's a character improvement. Assignment. Watch the patterns in your life during these 2 weeks. Identify habits that are inconsistent. Pick one and work to make your approach to it more disciplined. Very good. Just picking one is enough to focus on for consistency. Third topic. Get our interesting questions sent into satsang@hindu.org. Today's question is how to avoid or not engage in thoughts which are instinctive and how to overcome from them. Okay. So there are a number of answers to this question. Today I'm sharing a portion of Merging with Shiva lesson 243. Once some level of enlightenment has been attained, this is the time to intensify the sadhana, not to let up. When we let up on ourselves, the instinctive mind takes over. We are still living in a physical body, therefore one foot must always be kept firmly on the head of the snake of the instinctive intellectual nature. The higher we go, the lower we can fall if precaution is not taken. Therefore we must prepare devotees for a sudden or slow fall as well. They should land on the soft pillows of consistent daily sadhana, worship of God, gods, and Guru, and the basic religious practices of karma yoga and bhakti yoga. Without these as a platform, they may slide down in consciousness below the Muladhara into the chakras of fear, anger, doubt, and depression. So in other words, there's kind of a false concept that once you reach a certain stage of enlightenment, the instinctive intellectual nature just goes away. But it doesn't go away because you're still in a physical and in an astral body. So it's still there. It's just you have better self-control over it. But you can let down and it can manifest again. That's what this is saying. It hasn't gone away yet. Scriptures are filled with stories of certain rishis who reached high levels but had given up all their bhakti and japa. When difficult personal karma came, each fell deep into the lower nature, way below the Muladhara, to become demon-like to society, rather than a holy seer and a guiding force. The whole idea that bhakti is for beginners is a modern expedient. It was created by modern people who do not want to do the daily sadhanas. Go for it, Gurudeva. Who do not believe that gods really exist and who are so bound in their individual personality that they do not accept the reality that God is in and within everything. This non-belief, lack of faith, challenges our values very slowly at first, but changes them nonetheless into those that cry, personal freedom is what is sought, making the little ego big and then bigger. Traditional disciplines and the spiritual teachers who know them so well nowadays come under the purview of these free thinkers, later to regret it. This is similar to children being the head of the house, telling their parents what they will do and what they will not do. Only the strongest and bravest souls can succeed in enlightenment and maintain and develop it until true wisdom comes as a boon. Therefore, we affirm, having attained a small degree of enlightenment, or fuller enlightenment, stay enlightened, because mukti, the transference from the physical body through the top of the head at the point of death, has not yet occurred. And only after that happens are we enlightened forever. This is the beginning of the ultimate merging with Shiva in a physical body. Thereafter follows Vishvagrasa, the final merger, whence there is no return, where Jiva has in reality become Shiva. As a bowl of water poured into the ocean becomes the ocean. There is no difference and no return. To summarize the lesson and its relationship to our question, we need a solid spiritual routine that includes devotional practices that we follow every day, even in a shortened form on our days off. So that's how I summarize it. Read that again. We need a solid spiritual routine. Solid means we're consistent in it. That includes devotional practices. We want to put ourselves into a devotional mood every day. And we follow this routine, even in a shortened form on our days off. So days off can be a problem to maintaining higher consciousness if we let down too much, if we don't really challenge ourselves in some way at some point in the day and raise our energy up. The energy is down if we just kind of lay around all day in a lazy state. That would be a perfect situation in which for the instinctive mind to manifest itself in some way. So we need a shortened routine even on our days off of sadhana, and we need to challenge ourselves on our days off in some way to raise the energy up. Thank you very much. Oh.